Hey, good afternoon, Crime Crunchies. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Again, I am your host, Courtney C. I have 27 years working in the media, and I am so happy to be able to bring you true crime stories with Crime Crunchies. You guys are my little Crime Crunchies. So I am a new channel. Thank you so much for supporting me. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and all of those good things. So happy to have you here. Today, we are going to be talking about, it's actually a bit of an older case. I believe it's from 2007. But with everything going on with Nancy Guthrie and somebody coming into her space and taking her away, it got me thinking about, some of the things that we could be doing to help protect ourselves. And honestly, one of the stories that happened is one we're covering today, Kelsey Smith. She was a young woman who was actually abducted in her car in the parking lot at Target. And I think to myself, okay, knowing that, what are some things that we could do to help protect ourselves? So I have several slides today to talk about things we can do in our home, personal safety when we are being confronted with people. But I also wanted to go through the Kelsey Smith story with you because they actually started with this case, and it actually helped move forward some of the ways that law enforcement use cell phone location information. So let's just dive right into the slides that I have here. Let's see, I need to get my mousy mouse. Oopsie. I'm on a different setup here today, so please bear with me. I lose my mouse, and then I have to find my mouse because I'm outside. Let me see. There it is. Okay. All right, so let's go right into it. So Kelsey Smith was an 18-year-old recent high school graduate from Overland Park, Kansas. On June 2nd, 2007, she went to a local Target store to purchase an anniversary gift for her boyfriend. Within hours, she vanished, triggering a massive search effort and national media attention. The investigation revealed she had been stalked and abducted from the parking lot. Her case would ultimately lead to new laws allowing police faster access to cell phone location data. Okay, Mr. Slide. Kelsey's early life. Kelsey Smith was born May 3rd, 1989. She grew up in Overland Park, Kansas with her parents Greg and Missy Smith. Friends described her as outgoing, energetic, and close to her family. She had recently graduated from Shawnee Mission West High School. She planned to attend Kansas State University later that year. On June 2nd, 2007, on the evening of June 2nd, Kelsey left home around 6:30 p.m. She planned to buy a scrapbook at Target for her boyfriend for their 6-month anniversary. The Target store was near Oak Park Mall in Overland Park. The errand was expected to be quick and routine. Inside the Target, security cameras showed Kelsey walking through the store aisles. A man later identified as Edwin Roy, aka Jack Hall, was seen following her. He kept a distance but clearly tracked her movements. Investigators believe he had noticed her when she entered the parking lot. So sounds like definitely a crime of opportunity. The abduction at approximately 7:07 p.m., Kelsey exited Target and walked to her car. Hall approached her with a gun. He forced her into her own vehicle. The abduction occurred quickly in the parking lot. No witnesses realized what was happening. And as people were watching the playback of what was going on in the parking lot, this guy was crouched down and was in the row behind her car. After the minute she got in her car, you could just barely see it happened so quickly, just running straight crouched down into her car, and within seconds, you see the car just start pulling away. So it was like almost faster than you could blink, and he had already run and gotten into her unlocked vehicle while she was in the driver's seat. Vehicle movement. Hall drove Kelsey's car away from the Target parking lot. Later that evening, the car appeared in the Oak Park Mall Macy's parking lot. Security cameras recorded someone leaving the car and running away around 9:17 p.m. So this happened very quickly. Now, I was under the impression that she drove the car and that he had her threatened while she was driving the car. But this is saying that he drove. Maybe he had her scoot over in the driver's seat. So I'm not sure. I thought she was driving it, and he was telling her where to go. I'm not sure. So car discovery. Kelsey's father and boyfriend began searching when she failed to return home. I think there was actually a party going on that night, and it was unlike her to not attend a party. They discovered her car abandoned in the Macy's parking lot. Inside were her purse, wallet, and Target purchases. Kelsey herself was missing. So the investigation began. Police processed the vehicle and collected fingerprints. And this was in 2007, so there was DNA. They reviewed the surveillance footage from Target. The footage clearly showed a man following Kelsey through the store. He held his distance, but you can see him in the background wherever she went. So he zoned in on her very quickly, and all the way through the store to checking out to walking out the front door pretty quickly after she did. And he was at such a distance that she probably had, I mean, obviously she had no idea that this guy was tailing her. So the image of the suspect was released to the public. A local resident recognized the man from the surveillance image, which is amazing. And they got so much footage, and Target and Walmart, those big stores, are really good at capturing facial recognition. So she identified him as her neighbor, Edwin Hall. Police quickly investigated the lead. And here we're going to learn a little bit about Edwin Hall. So Edwin Roy Hall was 26 years old and lived in nearby Olathe, Kansas. He worked as a forklift operator and had a wife and young child. As a juvenile, he had a history of violent incidents, including knife threats. He had no major adult criminal convictions at the time. Search efforts. So thousands of volunteers joined the search effort. The group became known as Kelsey's Army. Investigators attempted to obtain Kelsey's cell phone location data, but at the time there were privacy restrictions which delayed access to the information. And again, this is the case that changed cell phone location data for law enforcement forever. So, unfortunately, this happened to Kelsey because she was a beautiful young woman, but things did progress because of this case and her family's interaction and pushing law enforcement. So the cell phone data issue, telecommunication companies generally required a warrant or subpoena. Police believed the phone's signal could narrow the search area. The delay became a major controversy in the investigation. On June 6, 2007, so this is 4 days later, searchers located Kelsey's body. The site was near Longview Lake in Missouri. It was approximately 18 to 20 miles from where she had been abducted. The autopsy revealed Kelsey had been SA'd. She was strangled using her own belt, and her body had been left in a wooded area. Police arrested Hall the same day Kelsey's body was discovered. He was preparing to leave town with his family. Forensic evidence linked him to the crime. So Hall's fingerprints were found in Kelsey's car. Kelsey's DNA was located on his shorts. A blood stain from Kelsey was found on his shoe. The evidence strongly connected him to the murder. The motive, investigators determined Hall did not know Kelsey. He targeted her randomly after seeing her in the parking lot. He believed she appeared younger and vulnerable. That's exactly why I'm going to be talking about some of these safety tips, because these creeps, they're looking at you just like they're looking at Nancy Guthrie. Is she vulnerable? Is this somebody I can overtake? Is this somebody I can control? And he apparently thought she was younger than she really was. So Hall was charged with capital murder, aggravated kidnapping, R, and aggravated S. I'm not going to say that for YouTube. Prosecutors initially sought the death penalty. In July 2008, Hall pled guilty to the charges. The plea agreement removed the death penalty option. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. So at least he didn't drag her family through an entire trial, which is good for the victims. Absolutely. So Kelsey's Army legacy. Community volunteers continued supporting the Smith family. The case drew national attention and widespread sympathy. Kelsey's parents advocated for legislative change. The Kelsey Smith Act allows law enforcement to obtain cell phone location data during emergencies. Kansas passed the law in 2009. Many other states later adopted similar legislation. And I definitely think that, again, this is where law enforcement has gone with cell phone data. The Kelsey Smith Foundation. The Smith family created the Kelsey Smith Foundation. The organization focuses on safety education and awareness. It also supports families dealing with missing person cases, which is amazing that the family has tried to take, something that was so horrible and turn something good into it. So definitely, a good thing as far as what the result was of, this case. So the impact, the case highlighted dangers of parking lot abductions. It also revealed delays in emergency data access for investigators. Legal reforms across the U.S. were influenced by the case. Conclusion, Kelsey Ann Smith's story remains one of the most tragic abduction cases of the 2000s. Her life and legacy led to legal changes that may help save future victims. Her family continues advocacy in her memory. So that is that one. And let me go out of here. Mr. Mouse is not being nice with my little thingy. I wonder if I can change this video, get this off my screen. Let me change it to this. Let me try using my MacBook here. All right. So what I want to do is, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about, personal safety, because we're not exactly sure what the motive was with Nancy Guthrie. Okay. We're not sure exactly how this person came across her in his life or in her life. We have some speculation as to what happened, but we're not exactly certain. But it's very apparent that whatever happened to her was targeted. And, are there some things that could have been done differently? Yeah, probably. There's so much talk about her not having a subscription to her Nest camera in the front. And while obviously having a subscription to the Nest camera in the front might have helped, that was definitely not going to stop what happened to Nancy Guthrie in her home. Having a subscription to Google Nest was not going to save her. It probably would have helped law enforcement to gather more information about what happened to her during, before, and after, without having the trouble of having to go to Google and have them scrape the video and the images that they have. But that in no way was going to stop whoever did this to her from hurting her. And, looking at Kelsey Ann Smith and her situation, if she was driving the car, and I have to tell, and this is really the most important message, if you're in your car, you're driving, and let's say you're carjacked, or somebody does get in your car, they're in your back seat, and they try to overtake you. Here's what you need to know about any abduction. If the perp is able to get you from location A to location B, if you're moved to a second location, you have a 90% chance of not surviving whatever is planned in this nut job's head, okay? The object of any type of being overpowered or abducted, you've got to do whatever you can to not be taken to a second location. And yes, if the person that is with you has a weapon, like I said, if you've got a 90% chance of not surviving after being taken to a second location, you may as well scream your head off, kick him in the face, poke his eyeballs out. If you're driving, drive the car up the curb into a telephone pole, into a wall, into a building. You know, if there's a parked car, drive it into a parked car, whatever you have to. If the weapon is a gun, they would have to, while the car is moving and propelling forward quickly, they would have to either hit you in the head, in an artery, or the heart. And there's a very strong chance that you could survive that type of assault. But once you get to a second location, I can guarantee you anything that you might suffer during the abduction is far better than what you're going to go through once you get to location B. So the main message I want to share on this video is you need to do whatever it takes. Do not let flight or fright or freeze happen. Keep your wits about you, okay? And yes, they might think that they can control you, but if you stay calm and you realize that I've got to do something now, even if, you know, he hits me or whatever, you've got to do whatever it takes. So I want to take a look at a couple other situations for personal safety. And let me get this one going. I've not used just one screen, so let me see how this looks. I'm going to take myself out of this while we're doing this screen. So, all right, personal safety awareness. So recognizing risks, preventing abduction, and staying safe in everyday situations. Why awareness matters. Most abductions are rare, but prevention and awareness significantly reduce risk. Layered safety habits can make someone a much harder target. Home safety basics, locking doors and windows, install motion lights and doorbell cameras, which, you know, those are things that are going to make somebody think twice about it. Nancy's abductor didn't care. Use deadbolts and reinforced door frames, and we still don't know how this person got into Nancy's house. That is something that the sheriff and law enforcement is holding back. And I'm very curious because there's, you know, the rumor that there were more than one person. You know, is it a walkie-talkie in his pocket? Did somebody already get into the back and open the door? The front door did not look like it had been busted into. So it makes me think that somebody let him in. But there's also been a conspiracy. I don't want to call it. There's a theory going out there that we're assuming that the abductor showed up at 1:17 a.m. and got in at that time because her pacemaker was disconnected from her Apple Watch or her iPhone at 2:28 a.m. But we know she got home at 9:50 p.m. the night before. How do we know this guy hadn't already made access to her house and was lying in wait and had actually been there for hours, and whatever was going to happen had already happened, and he knew he needed to take her out the front? So that's when he was calm, cool, cucumber, and went out front dealing with the camera and the weeds and everything. So we're assuming that's when he made ingress, but that could have just been him working out his egress. Okay. So we're not exactly sure. Again, a lot of speculation going on. Verify anyone claiming to be a worker or authority. Vary walking routes and schedules. Avoid sharing real-time location publicly, which I'm not sure anybody really does that. I know that I share my real-time location with family members, but stay aware in parking lots and transitional spaces. And I have to say, so I travel with my grandson a lot, and I know that things happen on the road. When I'm at like a Love's or a travel center, I'm making eye contact with people around me. These creeps are looking for people who are in their own head, texting on their phone, who are not paying attention, and that gives them the opportunity to overtake and control. Exactly what Kelsey Ann Smith's abductor said. She looked younger and she was not going to fight back. So you need to really show that you're aware, and make eye contact with people around you. Make them realize that you're not in your own little world. You mean business, and they need to leave you alone. If you look strong and confident, they're not going to target you, okay, unless there's some real criteria that you match 150%. They're not going to target you if you look like you mean business and are just going to be too tough of a candidate for them. Parking lot safety. Park in well-lit areas. Have keys ready before reaching the car. Check the back seat before entering. If something feels wrong, return to a public area. And so many of us, they say women's intuition. We have intuition and we just go, oh no, it's just in my head. No, you need to follow that and take an extra 2 minutes, go back to the store. And unfortunately, Kelsey Ann Smith was taken with the sun out. It was 7 p.m. and it was not nighttime, but I don't know that she when she got in, she needed to have locked her car doors, and that's definitely, I'm sure it'll be on one of these slides that we go through, but you need to absolutely, the second you get in your car, you need to lock those doors before anybody can rush you. If someone tries to force you into a car, resist early if possible. Drop your weight and make noise. Grab objects or structures to prevent being moved. Run toward people or public spaces. So getting down on the ground is going to draw attention. Screaming, flailing about, it's harder for them to have to pick you up instead of just pushing you. So I think that's why it's talking about dropping your weight. Common psychological tricks used by offenders. They fake authority figures. We're going to look at those as well. They invented an emergency. Little Billy's down the well. I need your help. Can you help me find my puppy? A friendly helper approach. Claimed connection to someone you know, and using politeness pressure. And so many times we do feel like we have to be polite to people, and be pleasant and respond to their questions. But if you don't know them, this is what people do. This is how they get you. And we all need to be more aware of that and not be worried about being rude, if that makes sense. And I'm a people pleaser, but I don't want to be rude to people. I want to be pleasant and helpful, but it just isn't worth it. It just isn't worth it. Pre-incident warning signs. Target scanning or watching individuals. Someone following or changing direction with you. Again, pay attention to your surroundings. Look at what people are doing. If people are standing there looking at you, I know I stopped at a Love's once, and this guy was kind of in the background, was looking at me, was looking at the kid, and I just looked at him straight in the eye, and I'm like, not today, mister, not today. Didn't know if he meant any harm, but I wasn't messing around. Unusual closeness despite open space, vehicles circling or watching parking areas. We definitely don't want to be close enough that somebody can grab your elbow. There's a creep in Alaska, and he was horrible. And I actually think that he might have had something to do with the John Benet Ramsey case. He was in Alaska, and he went into, they have a lot of these little drive-through coffee cabin sheds, and he targeted a girl who was there very early and alone in the morning while the sun was not up. And you could see them on video. He's got her arm, and he's just walking her to her car. And I'm sure she's just freaking out and frozen. And I can't remember if she tried to get away, but he had her arm and she was not going anywhere. Additional red flags, attempts to distract you, someone blocking your path, sudden fast approach toward you, unusual lingering near entrance or exits. And again, some of these things, I don't know how you could handle someone running toward you, but I think that that's going to go back to flopping on the ground, screaming, kicking, poke their eyes out, poke them in the ear. If you've got your keys, you've seen people take the keys between the fingers, like a little weapon. A simple awareness habit: look, assess, decide. Observe surroundings, assess anything unusual, decide whether to continue or change direction. And again, this is probably one of those good tips, taking the time to change your direction and listening to your gut, and not be a people pleaser. Don't feel like we have to be pleasant to strangers. Key safety principles: trust your instincts, avoid being taken to a second location. That's the thing. If you're not driving and you have to jump out of a moving car, jump out of a moving car. Get the road rash, get the broken leg. The guy's probably not going to go back and get you. Move toward people and light. Your safety is more important than being polite. Absolutely. All right, so let's continue with home safety, reducing risk and personal safety. Abduction of adults from homes is extremely rare. However, practical steps can reduce risk. Think of safety as layers of protection. Make your home look occupied and alert. Install motion-activated outdoor lights. That's not going to save you. Didn't save Nancy, but it's a deterrent. But this guy had been doing recon and had been studying her. And unfortunately, some of these creeps, they will. The guy who abducted Elizabeth Smart, once he saw her and he knew she was the target, he went down from the mountain to her home and did a quick sweep through, paying attention to activities, events, routines, schedules, etc. Keep doors and windows locked. Trim shrubs near windows. Use light or TV timers when away. Why visible security works. Most offenders look for easy opportunities. A home that appears watched or secure discourages them. Even a visible camera can deter someone. And, if you're gone, leaving the lights on or having your lights on a timer is a good thing. And honestly, if you're a woman and you live alone, if there's some way to make it look like there might be a man in the house, that's good. Maybe leave a pair of men's shoes outside. Go to Goodwill and get a pair of used men's big size men's shoes and put them outside the front door and just leave them. If someone sees a size 14 shoe, they're less likely to think that Nancy lives alone. Strengthen door and window security. Install deadbolt locks on exterior doors. Reinforce door strike plates. Use security bars for sliding doors. That's a good one. Even an old broomstick works. Add locks to ground level windows. And I know the sheriff just talked about this. He's like, you've got to lock your windows. Thieves are not going to go through the front door. That's the last place they're going to check. They're going to go through windows. Why strong entry points matter. Many home entries happen through weak doors or unlocked windows. Small upgrades can significantly increase security. And control who gets access. Verify anyone at your door. Request identification from workers. Confirm utility visits directly with the company. It's like, okay, I see you're here, Mr. HVAC guy. I didn't know you were coming. You say your name is Chris. You're with so-and-so. Wait, out here. Close the door, lock the door, go in and call. Never open the door without verification. And vary routines, which is hard to do because, our life, we have things we have to do, work, etc. But if you can, change your walking routes, walk at different times, avoid posting real-time locations on social media, like those Facebook check-ins that got real popular. Unpredictability removes patterns. Stay aware in parking lots, park in well-lit areas, have keys ready, check the back seat, return to the store. So this one we are going to see a lot. Parking lots is a lot of places where this kind of stuff happens, unfortunately. Use technology for safety. Use smartphone SOS features. I know Life 360 has an SOS feature, and set up a safe word. If I call my sister and I say Eggy, okay, Eggy is a word we use if we were fighting and we needed to calm down, we just look at each other and go, okay, Aggie. So if I call my sister and I say, Aggie, she knows something's not good. She can check Life 360 and get the cops to where I am. Share your location with trusted contacts. Use safety apps such as Noonlight or Life 360. Use smartwatches with emergency alerts. Building community awareness, get to know your neighbors, participate in neighborhood watch groups, tell someone when you travel. Community awareness adds extra protection. Look out for your neighbors as well. If they're a weird van, why is there a moving truck in my neighbor's yard or driveway? They're not moving. What's going on? I wouldn't say go over and ask, but maybe text your neighbor and say, are you guys expecting this? Do you know this is happening? And again, trusting your instincts. If something feels wrong, change direction, move toward people, call someone, make noise, or draw attention. Key takeaway, most offenders target people who appear unaware, isolated, or predictable. Awareness, preparation, and community connection significantly reduce risk. All right, so let's keep going. Let me check my comments. I haven't checked my comment. Oh, yes. Hi, Mo Pollock. Thank you so much for commenting. If you are learning something new, let me know. Let me know. Put a 1 in the comments if you're learning something new. I think that this is so valuable to take just a minute and think about these things. I hope you're finding it helpful as well. All right, so we're going to go to compliance tactics used. All right, compliance tactics. And again, this is where you're confronted with somebody for a couple different reasons, and people again feel like they're obligated to be polite. So many abductions do not begin with violence. Offenders often use psychological tricks to lower a person's guard. These are called compliance tactics because they rely on deception and social pressure. Why understanding these tactics matters. Recognizing patterns can break the manipulation. Awareness helps people react sooner. Think of it like spotting the magician's hidden thread before the trick begins. And really, I think it's just taking the time to do a sweep. Who's behind me? Make eye contact. Don't look like you're in the clouds. The authority figure trick. Now, this is a hard one, okay? Because we're supposed to respect authority. The offender pretends to have authority. Examples: a fake police officer, security guard, investigator. Typical phrase, I need you to come with me for a moment. That's a tough one because we watch, true crimers. We're watching 48 Hours. We're watching Dateline, all these stories where they might have police cam. And it's very common for people to go, okay, why are we going to the police station? And the cops don't always tell you, okay? This is a tough one. I'm not exactly sure what you should do because, again, we're supposed to trust law enforcement. I have no idea. It's not like you can call the police and say, hey, I've got policemen here asking me to come with them. What am I supposed to do? I'm not sure about that one. Protect yourself on authority trick. Ask for official identification. Call 911 or the agency to verify. Legitimate officers will not object to verification. And that is true. Asking for a badge number. I don't know. If cops just come up to my house and they ask me to come with them, I guess I probably am going to ask them, especially if I haven't done anything. Why are we going somewhere? This just seems weird. I haven't left my house. So I think that would be odd. Something good to think about, though. The urgent emergency story. Offenders invent a crisis to force quick action. Examples: an accident involving family, car being towed, vehicle damage. Goal is to create panic so the victim stops thinking critically. And that is so important. Again, that's why these people are sweeping. They're looking at people who's not paying attention. And we have to think critically. We don't have to do what people tell us. And this is, just knowledge is power. We have to train our brains to think about these things. So, protecting yourself in an emergency story, pause before reacting, verify the situation directly, call the person involved or emergency services. So, again, we need to pause and verify the situation. I see a thread. The helpful stranger approach. Offender appears friendly and helpful. Examples: offering rides, helping with groceries, asking directions near a vehicle. Gradually steers the situation toward their car. Yeah, I mentioned I travel. So I'm at a gas station. I'm in line behind a guy, and it was super early in the morning. Sun wasn't up, and he offered to buy whatever it was I was checking out with. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Because I felt like maybe I'm just paranoid. I just felt like that was an opportunity for him to get me into a conversation, or, I would then owe him attention. Hey, come on over to my truck. Let me show you something. And he was in a big box truck. And I'm like, nope, I'm good. Thank you very much. Actually, how about I buy your items? I'll pay for your items. You need to be strong, and you need to appear like a rock. You need to be tough. Helpful stranger, protecting yourself. Maintain physical distance. Do not enter a stranger's vehicle. Ever, ever, ever. Seek assistance inside stores or public places instead. That's the best thing you could ever do, is go to the back room. If, you see a door that says employees only, go in. See a break room, go in. The familiar face illusion. So offender claims connection to someone you know. Example: hey, your neighbor sent me. Your son asked me to pick you up. How many times have you had maybe someone doing like pest control in the neighborhood, and they say, hey, I was just at your neighbor's. They told me to come by, that you need this. Trust is exploited through familiarity. So again, you need to stop, you need to pause, you need to verify, you need to get away, and we need to not worry about being rude. It's not worth it. Protect yourself from a familiar face. Verify the connection directly with the person mentioned. Legitimate contacts will understand caution. Absolutely. If I go up to somebody in somebody's house or something like that, and they don't know I'm coming, and I'm with somebody or business or whatever, I have no problem with them checking something out. And a normal person wouldn't either. The politeness trap, and this is the one that I'm breaking myself of. Offenders exploit social pressure to avoid seeming rude. Examples: asking you to step closer, requesting help loading items, closing distance while talking. It's like, no, thank you. I'm good. Even if I'm not good, I'm putting my back out. I'm good. I'm good to go. You have a nice day. Bye-bye. No, I'm good. Protect yourself in the politeness trap. Your safety matters more than politeness. You can say, no, I can't help, or please step back. Scream. Scream. There's the last thing these creeps want is attention. Key safety rule: never go somewhere secondary with someone you do not know or trust. If someone insists on moving you to another location or vehicle, treat it as a major warning sign. Trust your intuition. If something feels wrong, create distance, move toward people, call for help. Your instincts often detect danger before your mind does. All right, that's cool. I think I went through this one. Yes. All right. Wow, well, that was a lot of good information. It's just really good to think about these things and keep these things in mind. Again, Nancy, bless her heart, was at home where you should be safe. And again, I don't think a subscription was going to deter this guy from doing whatever it is he did to her. But it's good if something does happen to have that subscription so that police can follow up. And really the most important thing is, maybe if she had a subscription and there were more cameras, especially one of the things that I learned is having a camera on the street looking both ways would have caught a plate. Like putting a camera near a rock where somebody's not going to think that there's a camera, that is actually, I think, really, really helpful if you're talking about a camera, is putting a camera on the street near your driveway or by your mailbox that you can see cars going both directions, because if something did happen, they could get a license plate, which would really have helped in this situation. If you have a camera pointing down from like an upper area and it's pointing down, somebody sees that, they're going to look down and to the side. Have one down underneath that's going to look up so that as they come down, it can catch their face. But again, the main reason why I did this is because you cannot get put in a car. You cannot get taken to a second location. And if this video can save anybody's life, one person's life, that would be amazing. And I hope that nothing ever happens to anybody. Well, I have gone through all my goodies. I have a presentation that I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm not sure, it's raining, but I'm going to be talking about General William McCasland, who has been missing now for 3 weeks. He is the general that is tied to the UFO disclosure stuff. There's some conspiracy theories about why he might be missing. I'm going to cover those things, but I'm going to talk about his life and why this is really important that he's missing, not just because he's a human being, but because of, the connection that he has to classified information regarding Roswell, UIPs, reverse engineering of spacecraft, etc. So why is he missing? What's going on? So I'm going to cover that tomorrow. And I really, really appreciate everybody joining so much. I hope that you learned something new. Again, if you did learn something new about safety and can take some of these lessons, please put a 1 in the comment box. Please subscribe, please like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Set up notifications. I will be doing more lives in the coming days, of course, and I really appreciate everybody. I will be at Crime Con, so if you're going to be at Crime Con, let me know. I would love to meet up with folks. So other than that, thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Courtney C. I have 27 years in the media. I'm happy to be here with you with Crime Crunchies. And until then, I will see you on the flip side. Talk to you soon.